Any significant bang-ups or anything?
Not that I've heard, but I haven't checked in with Pete and them. So we made a few adjustments today. It was still a hard day, but not quite as hard as we had planned because we've got a lot of just little tweaks is the best way to say it. So it's not unexpected at the beginning of camp, especially if you're going to go real hard. But we want to make sure we set the right mentality. I just didn't want to turn any 2-day issues into 2 weeks. So we'll give guys the time off they need, and then we'll get an exhibition season.
How is that going to impact the roster tomorrow?
I've made some changes. I'm going to go back, and I did it this morning. When you're looking at that whole, you're planning out 9 games, and it can be quite a puzzle. So I got to go back and make sure it's right. So I don't want to comment on it yet, but it certainly changed what I was going to do the first couple days.
You're going to need to keep most guys around just because you finished with 4-4. I mean, you need bodies.
Yeah, no. The reality, and we've had this even when it wasn't 4-4, it was 3-4. We play the maximum of 8 exhibition games this year with 9. So we have to make sure that we keep 2 teams around, and at that point, you almost keep 2 teams plus because Grand Rapids can't run their own camp. If they were running a camp, it would be with guys that probably aren't going to play there. So this is what has made the most sense for us is to just kind of keep everybody in Detroit through the whole exhibition season.
Just your overall thoughts on the whole training camp?
Unreal work ethic, unreal competitiveness. I thought yesterday's red-white game was as competitive as any red-white game I've ever seen. Nick Kreinvold echoed that, certainly the most competitive in his memory. It kind of goes to what I think guys have said, that they're sick of where we've been and they want to change that. Now, you keep making those decisions. It gets way harder as you get into October and then into December into January. So we just got to keep grinding here, keep plugging away, but it's a good start.
You still kind of prefer having them come up here rather than doing it right at Little Caesars or something?
Yeah, I think I prefer it. Our guys prefer it. We like coming up here. I guess multiple reasons. One, you get to come up here. You're kind of away for a little bit. The guys get to play some golf. It's beautiful up here. It's a little getaway. It's not too super long, but it's great. Traverse City is a beautiful spot in the world. Me personally, both my sister and my parents live here, so I definitely like coming up here. But just from an aspect of the team, I think it's really worked well, and the people up here are great. And you also get to hit, a whole side of West Michigan and Northern Michigan that you don't get to hit on an everyday basis in Metro Detroit.
Any familiarity with the Barwis program? I know some of the guys have been going there for a few years, but obviously they'll take on a bigger role now.
What was the beginning of that question?
Any familiarity with the Barwis program?
Yeah, no, I've known Mike for a while. One of his gyms is in Plymouth. When I got here as a head coach, I went and sat down with those guys because a lot of our guys do work out with them in the off season, and and certainly the people that have been there, the Larkins, the Glendennings, the Helms, they've been there on a consistent basis. They rave about the job he does. I think the biggest thing is, I think Chris Illich is committing resources to the sport and science area, and what I like about Mike is he's got a great feel for hard and smart, and I think sometimes when you work out smart, you get a little soft, and there's still a balance there. You still got to have the hardness at times, and so he's got that great balance. I think Mike's reputation speaks for itself, but we're certainly excited to have him on board.
Jeff, you said you're used to playing like 3 and 4. You're going to be playing, I think it's 5 games in 6 days or something like that. I mean, does this present some challenges to you, or is this pretty much just the way it is?
Well, it presents some challenges, but there's also positives. You get enough games to be able to get guys the games they need to be ready. At the end of the day, our players aren't going to play 5 and 6 for the most part. You know what I mean? Our players aren't going to play 4 and 4. The management staff will be there, but the players aren't necessarily there. So you just got to manage that. You got to make sure that you're looking at the puzzle and trying to make it work.
I'm sure you're still working on the roster, but is there like one young prospect you could tell us who's playing tomorrow? Like just Valeno play. You've kind of said you want Sider to play Wednesdays. Is there?
Yeah, I don't honestly. I got to go back and look at it. I don't know if there's one that I would stand out for tomorrow. The challenge for guys like Valeno and Zadina too is they went 4 and 5 nights here at the Prospects Tournament. Is it beneficial? I got to talk to Steve quick after this. Is it beneficial for them to have an extra day off here? So I'm going to look at that one as soon as I get back.
This is the busiest time of the year for the coaching staff too.
Not even close. It's not even close. It gets you ready for the year for sure. sure, between camp and the exhibition season. But it's great because that's when your energy is the highest, and it does sharpen you up. You're ready to go. Players got to be ready to go. So do coaches. We can't afford to not be 100% on our game, and we'll be 100% on our game come the puck drop of the opening night.
What do you really look for in these next 2 weeks before the home opener or the regular season starts?
Yeah, it just gives us a real good chance to watch a whole bunch of guys in game action. The challenge in the exhibition season is the varying roster. Sometimes you're seeing guys that are real NHL players, and sometimes you're seeing guys that will probably play in the American League. And so you try to balance that. You think when you go to Pitt, we'll probably see a really good roster, so you try to put a roster together similar. When you go to the New York Islanders, I'd like to get a hold of Barry Trotz and have a conversation just so we know if we can try to match up rosters the best we can. But again, it gives them a whole bunch of, we got a whole bunch of competition for jobs, and I think that showed in how competitive each practice was, and this gives us a chance to see those guys play.
Can you talk about the volunteers real quick?
Oh, the Traverse City Volunteers,
Yes, sir.
to allow this to happen? Well, I mean, the people here that come here, a lot of people take their vacation and they come up here and they volunteer. It's amazing. It's awesome. They're huge Red Wing fans, but they're just great people. And now a lot of them have been up here year after year after year. So I've been a part of this organization now, I think, 9 years. And so you see those people, they almost become like family, and you get excited to see them when you come up here. So it's really cool.